Hello there. I think we are ready to rumble. Seems like everything is working, hopefully. But yeah, sorry for being late. I did some housework after the race today and, well, kind of lost track of time. So, about 5 minutes late. Sorry, everyone. But we're going to get back into the Baron Axe adventure. And I think what we're going to do today is just focus on basically getting through the season. Because we have kind of run into the cap, so to speak. There isn't much we can do development-wise. And financially, we're looking in danger of breaking the cost cap. Let's just put it like that. Compared to the previous test save I did, where you have to be a little bit careful. Now, I will also say that I've spent a lot of time today just looking into the other staff and the team principal negatives here for mentality. And there does seem to be some slight differences from driver to driver. Could be overall levels, but I do have some suggestions on how they can fix that. Hello BKK, hello Camille, hello Alex, Bacon, Sohan, Hamburger, nice to see you all. Did I enjoy the race? Yes. It needed 2 more laps though to become really, really interesting. It's a little bit of a shame that we had kind of 2 3-way fights and nothing really happened with them. I'm also very disappointed that they pitted Piastri, I'll be honest. They should have left him out in fresh air where he was doing the work. Wilson Perez, he survived this weekend, basically, I guess. We'll have to see though. Summer break is on us, and I don't think he's completely safe yet. We'll have to see. Hello, Dari. I do think Piastri would have had a better chance at doing the Russell strategy. Russell did a very, very good call there. But yeah, we are going to simulate the rest of this season. There's not really too much to it. Just going to try and get through it and maybe see how the first 2-3 races treat us next year. It's not going to be a super long stream today. Probably 2-3 hours at the most. I'm still going to be editing a video. I'm a little bit unsure if I'm going to go into the mechanical failures or the mentality. I like to dive a little bit deeper into mentality, but I think I have enough for just a early video. And basically, the issue that I see now with mentality is you have no way to gauge if a driver is going to be unhappy with your car performance and your staff before you pick him up. So honestly, the solution to this, if I were the devs, is simply to expand on the scouting system and the driver system a little bit and straight up give them traits. That is probably the best way to solve this issue. Just give the drivers some traits. Like basically, let's say that if in theory Behrman was ambitious, he would not be happy with the car and the staff here. They just aren't, good enough for his ambition, if you will. If a driver is professional, they just don't care too much about the staff and car performance. They might get a minor malice instead. Because right now it just seems to be, a dice roll. Shaw, for instance, does not care. While Behrman, who was basically just one overall too higher, was very upset. So there is something funky going on there. Hello, Dark. Managed to get through the first season despite depth and cost caps reaching Sandwood without getting fired. That's a long time. Breaking everything. We are going to be simming to next season, Alex. I'm just going over a little bit of my frustrations with the mentality. We get started here. Okay, we do have summer break though, so I should probably just double check that our warehouse is looking nice and filled, if you will, before we go into next year. And currently, looks like we need to kind of make everything over the course of this break, which we've already gotten kind of started on here, so it should not be a huge deal. But yeah, we definitely are going to need to make a bunch of parts over this break. That's going to be quite important. McLaren keep messing up strategies. Fortunately, they do. Yeah, I'm going to be simming through, Alex, don't worry. Yeah, I would like to have traits basically to both expand upon how driver behavior, but also to kind of give you a little bit of expectation and scout report. Like, what can you expect from these drivers in terms of their mentality within the team? Because they seem to want, basically, judging from how mentality is working right now, they seem to want mentality to be a pretty big part of the game. But at the same time, they don't really give you the tools to gauge how any driver or staff member is going to react mentally before they join the team. And that's going to make things, you know, quite a bit hard to judge. So that is a bit of a problem. And also my picker is pretty terrible. So we need to kind of fix that. Do we want to go up to 3 seconds? Ah, never mind. I'm an idiot. It's the same old problem that we have with mentality. Sorry, everyone. So mentality is also messing up our pit crew. And we do need a new pit boss at this rate. Because 66 max? That's a little bit too low. But yeah, apparently I wasn't too far off the way we wanted to go. Just get this maximized. Put in a little bit of setup. Our building. I kind of at least want to keep it where it is. And we'll also do a little bit of gym time here while we still have low fatigue levels. Could be probably better to put it at the start of the month, but honestly, it's not a big deal. There is currently I don't know if it's a bug or a new feature in the game, but at the start of the month, you don't lose all your fatigue that you built up last month, but you lose like 10-15% extra of that fatigue that you built up the month before, which is kind of an interesting thing, really, because that fatigue loss means that you can push the picker a little bit harder this year. And again, I have no idea if that's something they want to do. It might be something just to make the AI pit crews more competitive. But again, a fix like that is just something that the player is going to take more advantage of than anything else. So I don't know if that's going to work out. Okay, the chat's moving quick. Sorry, everyone, for missing out. If I do miss, just ask again. Any patches yet? No. Sometime next week. So maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. I'll have to see. That's the game. It's decent, but I'm looking forward to the next patch, which should probably make it rather good. Car building important? It's basically, it's not super important. It's basically how quick your pit crew is at switching parts. Not to say the front wing during, races, but more like the car setups between when you switch the setup during practice, when you're in the pits. Instead of spending 10 minutes, they might just spend 5 instead. That sort of thing. I'm itching to play, but waiting for my new graphics card. Honestly, JP, that's not actually an issue because the game needs a couple of patches to be actually really good. So you waiting for your graphics card is probably better than everyone who's been playing for the, past 5 days. You're probably going to have a better time than most of us due to that. Want to go into Inters and Wets? Inters, you're probably safe around the 0.80 mark, but it depends on how quick it goes up. You don't want to overcook them. And for the Wets, 4 is basically the crossover. But on some tracks, Inters can still compete with Wets if it doesn't go far over 4. So, again, hard to judge. Okay, 4 suspensions. Let's get one more underfloor. I am financially sad looking at my remaining cost cap. At least we haven't gone too far into design this year, because if we went in a little bit deeper, we might be in trouble. But at this rate, we should be fine. I hope. Question. Do we have safety time? We get it in 23 days. So anything that we do now, except for maybe that rear wing, which honestly I should have checked before, because now we're making 2 that we don't need. Yeah, that's a little bit of unsure. Steam okay. I'm connected to Steam still. It's okay on my side. Oh, the stream. I'm not losing any frames according to OBS, so I would assume YouTube issues then. Just got a Grand Slam with Yuki. That's nice. Rowing has been finished, and with that, we're actually going to go ahead here. Let's get this final rowing, and then we're going to make some more. The question here is very simple. How much of an upgrade this is? Is this the... Yeah, that is the CFD one. This is the final edition one. Okay. Then we're all caught up. Good. We don't need to do any more designs. It's just going to be research until the end of the year. Okay. Everything's still looking very good. A little bit of waste of money here. But we survived with 3 million on the test run. Let's see if we survive with maybe a little bit, a tiny teensy little breach of the cost cap. Ever so slightly. This is a sacrifice of DRS though, compared to the previous one. And it is just how things are going to have to be, I think. Yeah. DRS doesn't seem to be too powerful this year compared to last, which is kind of a weird thing, honestly. But I guess, seeing what we've seen in Belgium, it does kind of make sense. Maybe. Hello, Ninkit. Nice to see you. External contract offer. Okay, so Claudia here is most likely going to leave. And honestly, I don't think that's an issue. Look at the salary here. The stats aren't great either. And honestly, upgrading our staff like this by having them get poached would not be a terrible thing for us. We're gonna get a little bit of money. No, we're not gonna get any money because they're starting the contract next year. But that means it's time to look for a new head of aerodynamics, which honestly is kind of this is kind of silly. The fact that we can, if we want to pay for it, snatch, for instance, Tondi. Is actually doable. Although currently we have absolutely 0 scouts. What have I done to my scouting team? Oh, I terminated them. It's the same money. But yeah, we're going to be looking for a new head of aerodynamics. And again, it is kind of cheesy, but you can actually sign Tondi, Balbo, any one of these guys if you get in early. And again, it seems like the AI only starts poaching about halfway through the summer break. So if you do your poaching before the summer break, then you generally will be able to snatch up basically a new staff lineup, 90 plus in your first year. Because there's a lot of contracts that are finishing. So it's kind of cheesy, but it's going to fix our mentality issues a little bit. Again, staff mentality being lower than our drive mentality is kind of a good thing, as weird as that sounds. So we can do some pretty funny stuff there. I'm good, Nink. I hope you're doing well too. Graduated, done with my father, and doing house jobs. Hippity hoppity. You're stealing my team? Hello, Mav. Hello, Baker. Could you please say which series we should use to break 2023? Huh? Which series you should use to break F1 -23? Just make a cornering car for the most part? I have some older guides for that. I'm doing good, Matt. We don't know when the update comes out. The contracts are still bugged, so you just have to send them a good offer. And if they don't accept the first time, just cancel it, wait a couple of days, send them a new one. See, they work with some creators, some not. Yeah, I haven't gotten any updates on when I can expect patch or what's going to be in it, unfortunately. No information on how to break the game has been given to me yet, I guess. I assume not both chassis are going to break here, so let's just get both of them cooking. We are going to break cost cap this year, that's for sure. 800 plus 4 million, 5 million. We have 12 million remaining. That cost cap is getting broken. The Switch already received their update. Aim, the update the Switch received, unless I'm mistaken, is actually the one that PC received on launch. So Switch basically just got put up to the same level as the PC, and potentially we could be seeing that the Switch is going to be like a couple of days behind potentially, so we'll have to see. That's at least how I understood it. That's science and Adami, yeah. No, there's supposed to come some patches this week, Mikey. You know why I can't put in my Philly drives in after season 1? I don't, but after we finish this season, we might take a look at that. Maybe we'll figure it out. So he's actually got a new contract from Mercedes, so we can't snatch him. What about Tondi? He's got a new contract from Ferrari, so both of them are out. Who else has contracts that end this year? I believe what Roma does. Other than that, there isn't actually too many, you know, super good options there. At least of the higher levels. So I guess we'll just go scout Balbo, but I think he has a long contract, so that's going to be quite expensive to poach. We haven't done any research yet, Ninka, but we don't need to. Like 2 research projects should be it for catching up. I said raid Saudi Arabia to have the entire grid crash. Literally. One day of the year that it is raining, you're part of it. But yeah, I reckon this contract is going to be rather expensive, so we're not going to do that. Although you can actually go after people who already re-signed their contracts. Hello, Bakang. Yeah, you can do some pretty silly stuff with the things. I broke the cost cap, but nothing really happened. You get fined. That is the one thing, and your board might lose faith in you if you go on, go in depth. And also, they don't really like you breaking cost cap. There's nothing necessarily negative about it besides that. Why am I simming? Because we have kind of reached our performance ceiling. Every race day is going to be basically the same. It has been for the last 4 or 5, where we are fighting for points positions as my game committed die. That's our second crash. Let us send and restart that. But yeah, the idea behind simming is that we have reached a ceiling. There's nothing that we really can do to perform better. So we're going to sim the rest of the season, see how the game behaves while simming. What's the idea? And then kind of get started on second season to see what we can expect. It's not 100%, Sorry, I forgot about the air braking. I should have muted stream. Sorry. Basically, we just want to get this done because we are going to be finishing at most ahead of Mercedes. So there's no need to really sit here and suffer through a bunch of, at most 6-7 place finishes. So we want to speed up so we can try and fight the beast that is Verstappen. And I'm curious, am I going to crash again now? No, fine. I do like the autosaves are usually timed pretty well to... So you don't lose much when you crash, in my case. Yeah, sorry, Bakang. How do affiliates in FP1 work? Does it boost the attributes? Basically, you get extra development for them. So we have plenty of parts remaining, but I'm really worried now that the AI is just going to immediately orange these parts, and then we are going to be, crying at the side of the road. And if it's saying that my car performance is 21st, 22nd, I think again, Camille, that the way that works is just a average of all stats, but that it weighs all stats equally. So it takes every single stat, including dirty air tolerance, including, pulls it all together. And even though you have a car that is, potentially can win, because the average of every stat is the worst of all teams, you don't get put where you should, I guess you could say. Let's see if they actually follow the strategy here. Try something silly like that. Then we'll leave Hauge with his strategy there. Yeah, there's a couple of things that would benefit from just giving a little bit more information in this game. Okay, so when we sim with 13th and 14th, 2 laps down. The Has and Bodas 4 laps down. Did something happen here? We're basically 2 seconds slower than Beach Boys' fastest laps. That's not promising for next year. He did actually do a 1-stop, so I assume that he actually respected the strategy somewhat, and Hauge did 3. That's nice to see. If you can actually set up the race strategy before the race begins, you might be able to do some cheeky stuff there. Okay, Red Wings are done. We didn't actually put them on the car in time, which is an issue. And the old one failed, which is fine, because then we can put the new ones on. We did immediately pick up a gearbox minor fault, because again, that's just how the game works. When you sim, you have so much higher chance of picking up faults. It's actually going to make you cry. The Science Center improvement... No, I'm going to deny this budget, because we don't have this budget. We don't have that budget currently. It's not happening. Okay, so everyone has kind of signed new contracts is what I'm seeing at the moment. Which means that we might be in a little bit of trouble with finding a new one. We could go for Balbo. He's going to be very expensive though. 5.5 million in buy-on fee and probably 1 in sign-on. So that's going to be expensive. But it is doable. And it would be a nice boost in our staff here. I do kind of also want to see if we can pick up someone like Cadil or maybe Allison. Pretty sure Cadil still only has a 1-year contract, so we might still be able to pull something off. Hello, Floof. Great in Season 2 is wild. I can only imagine. And it's the best time to do research in Season 1. Depends, honestly, again, it's depending on your regulation change, it can be very, very different. Like for me here, we have a regulation change that we have 10% across 3 spineball stats, as well as, 4% on these 2. And that's it. That's the regulation change we got this year. Now, if you have something that gets you 30% on everything, you're going to have to start a lot earlier. But it's highly dependent on how much money you have left in the cost cap, and also what the regulation change actually is. For the most part, if you start researching around the halfway point, you should be fine. Another thing that I usually advise is that once you have safely hit this, your season objective, once you basically guarantee that you are going to hit this, just go full research at that point. That's basically the 2 things that I would recommend when it comes to dealing with your research time. Just lost a point because I rolled out. Oof, that is frustrating. No, Ferrari, how dare you? To be fair though, I don't think we can give him a better contract at the moment. We're going to get a little bit of money though from Ferrari snatching him, so I guess that's fine. But yeah, we aren't going to be able to really mess around too much with affiliates this year either, so... What do we think? So it's the general consensus that this version is worth it, not too buggy, broken at this point in launch. Honestly, this version is worth it, but again, I would wait until patch next week before I start playing, because there is a couple of things that are really broken. The contracts, for one, the AI isn't developing properly, and what was the third one? There's another third one that's quite huge that I don't remember at the moment. But I would just advise wait until the patch next week is out to have a proper experience, to not get disillusioned or disappointed in the game. Because as the bugs gets fixed, I think it's going to be pretty good. Give Antonelli a seat for next year? I think we're going to stick with our boys, to be fair. Unless they too get snatched. The contract bug, Opal, is that if you send a contract and then don't immediately agree, it just goes to the void. So even if you send like a counteroffer, it doesn't actually apply, which is probably something we'll be seeing in a minute here when I'm going to try and look for some new staff. Strategy prep, Italy. Yeah, the ERS swap out giving you a penalty. If you swap out your ERS from practice to quali, you get sent to the back of the grid. You get absolutely sent to the Shadow Realm. How much do I have left in cost cap? 12 million last I checked. So we're just barely going to survive at this point, provided we don't spend basically anything. If you make them respond immediately, they reply. Yeah, but you're going to have to give them better terms for that, Lemon. So in my eyes, it's just better to cancel that contract if they don't immediately apply. Wait a week or so and then send them a new offer. Hello, Nero. Both of my drives had grid penalties for no reason. I installed a second ERS and they're starting at the back. Yeah, that is the ERS bug, Water. Currently, there's a bug in the game that if you switch ERS during a race weekend, basically from practice to quali, you get sent to the back of the grid. Okay. But yeah, we are going to struggle with some minor damage faults here. And some of them can be really, really bad. Well, I should probably set up a strategy for the boys here. Can we do a theoretic strategy that would be hilariously fast and only work if we simmed? Maybe not. Yeah, the one-stop is the best option here, honestly, which is kind of sad. We'll try and go the reverse, start on the hard, and then go medium at the end. And we'll just have them do alternate strategies. You are going to have issues like the car setup here, but how can actually qualify 6th with a damaged gearbox? That's a machine. Didn't change it between sessions, did it before the weekend? That's weird then. Pretty sure I avoided that issue when I changed for the weekend, but I'm not 100% certain. That's the issue there. So Hauge has crashed out in our second sim. Demon ended up 7th, so let's just pray that he hasn't destroyed the vehicle. Oh, Asia. Well, Asla, sorry. Apologies there. It's a cost cap. A bit of my teams like starting 6 million glitch. Doesn't seem to be. Seems to be a conscious choice. AWR, and it's one of the reasons why I would like Frontier to just give the player a little bit more warning that you need to be more careful with money your first year. Didn't have a DNF simulating in the last 4 or 5 races. Yeah, it can get pretty bad. That gearbox is gone. The engine is gone. Probably gonna have to use that engine a little bit more though. Use this gearbox instead, although we can switch during the race weekend. That should be fine. But yeah, if we have a lot more crashes like this, it's gonna be problematic. We might actually run out of parts before the end of the year and have to go back to older designs. I think for now though we should be fine with making probably a couple more suspensions. They're not too expensive, but particularly the chassis here are gonna be a pain if we end up breaking a lot of them. Yeah, I can understand that, Water. Again, the fact that you get no warning is very, very frustrating. Okay, a couple of points there for Daemon in the cornering department, or pace department, if you will. Just adaptability for Hauge after he crashed out. 4 months left. Have you been given a new contract? You're actually going to Red Bull next year. That means we can pick up Vaca cheap, or has someone else picked him up? How about you? You're going to... They picked up Fry? Wait, I need to figure out that... I need to figure out whose goes where. So Allison goes to McLaren. Who is the current McLaren man? Baldy, where are you going? Because usually there's one that gets left out, and that's basically who we're looking for. We're just looking for the one that gets left out so we can snatch him and upgrade. Okay, new ATR period. We're going to use that on the side pods, I think. Let's get that sorted. Yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate with the crash, but it is what it is. We'll deal with it. And our pit boss has actually gotten even worse at the moment. We need... honestly, what I should invest in here is a new sporting director, because we're so far behind pit crew-wise at the moment, it's not even funny. Like, it actually is quite frustrating. Give them a break. A couple of days break here. Well, I would also really like it if they fixed or made the pit stop setups here a little bit easier, in the sense that just give us 3 buttons. One button being the, red one being the gym, one being the car, and just pull them into the positions. Because right now, the reason why this is a little bit laggy is because every time you click, the game does the calculation of how much, rather what are your pit crew stats going to be after today, basically, which slows it down a little bit. And it would just be quicker if you could just drag buttons over. But that is nitpicking, let's be honest. That's just me being a little bit nitpicky more than I should be. Yeah, that's what we're going to do this month. We do probably want to need a new spawn director more so than anything else. The aptitude is incredibly low here. Aptitude and process, which are the important parts. So we'll have to deal with that. AI being dumb. How good is the car right now? Currently, this isn't really accurate. We need to go to Baku. But it's fairly decent for cornering. Probably good enough that if we had better drivers, we'd be able to get some better staff. Antonelli has been snatched by Red Bull. So yeah, that's understandable. And as I said, we're going to do a side pod research because while we aren't losing cooling here, I like to keep the drag reduction and everything else going. And as you can see, this is still a pretty sizable boost. So we'll take that. I still think we're going to sacrifice the airflow front, maybe. Yeah, we'll sacrifice airflow front to get a little bit more cooling, get a little bit more, backside, get a little bit more top speed going into next year. We'll take that one. That'll sort most of our issues with the research for the side pod. Yeah, the AI shuffle is kind of weird with the contracts. They're going wild. The RS might be overpowered for getting the overtakes done, but let's be honest, I haven't seen any issues with getting overtakes done to your cars. So it might be very, very good to have a high DRS standard just for the overtakes this year. Missed target because we lost marketability. But on the other hand, on the flip side, you might lose out other positions then if you're running in cleaner. If you can latch onto a faster car in front, it can be very, very good. But if you can't do that and you don't have the base pace anyways, then over the course of the season, you're probably going to finish worse than, if you kind of left it behind. There's nothing wrong with focusing on DRS effectiveness. I've just decided not to this year to test things out. Have I ever done a race on 1 time speed? No. That's going to take you around an hour and a half. Although, to be fair, maybe that's the next challenge we do. We sit down and we do a YouTube and power. Nah, you haven't been kidnapped yet. Yeah, we need to figure out what we do with the staff, basically. Internal hire, we're getting our buff here. So this is also something that I need to kind of reiterate on. The mandatory activity sponsors actually give you all the money at once, for the most part. As you can see, we're going to get 8.2 million at the end of this period, no matter what, for the wind tunnel hire. That's ready for Jeddah. Usually 1 stop. Unless you can get out in real clean air. I say, yeah, the one stop's probably going to be your best bet for Jeddah. We're going to slow down our factory quite a bit this month, but we kind of need to. I need the money for next year. And we are basically caught up on parts, so it should be fine. Do the races on one times? I'd probably fall asleep, I'll be honest. Okay. You are out of contract and you have no new contract. So Holdy here could be our new technical chief. It's going to cost us a little bit to break the contract of our current staff member. But Holdy would actually be a decent upgrade, honestly. And there is some cheesy things you can do with the salary. Let's say we go down to 1.5 million. But we give him a signing bonus of, say, 750,000. And suddenly he's okay with it. So you can basically now do some pretty weird stuff with basically not paying people at all. Like, he wanted close to 3 million, and then he was back here on the appeal. But we can give him now a 5-season contract for 1.5. We can basically turn this down to, you know, 500,000 if we really want to, and just boost this to, you know, make him cheaper in terms of salary. There is a negative by doing it though, because the contract value, or rather the buyout fee, is set depending on how much you're paying them in wages and how long the contract is times the breakout multiplier. So if you do sign a staff member for 50k, I would expect him to be poached by the other teams next year. So we want to pay him something, in our case 1.5 million, because again, if you don't, I can only imagine that he's going to be nabbed off the shelf immediately. So we'll do this for Holdy, see if we can get a little bit of an upgrade there. Honestly, it's not a bad pick here. He is the 5th highest rated one, but we do need to get a head of aerodynamics, and currently it's not looking good because everyone has already gotten some new contracts. It could be that we go for Balbo. We are getting 8 million after all now. So we could try and snatch the Red Bull Genius here if we don't find a better option. And it does look like we might just do that. So let's continue scouting down the list. And again, I do also want to try and get a better sporting director here, because my pit crew is tragically bad at the moment. Like, it's actually kind of sad. Okay, so Black is actually going to Ferrari. And where were you going? Red Bull? Okay, so they're just switching staff members. Okay, that makes sense. So medium to hards or soft to hards? I feel like you can push a bit more mediums. You can, or you can run the soft light. That can also work. I'm one of those people who do the race on 16 times. Well, now you can sim him. You can't fall asleep because he has those annoying Twitch sounds you get for donations that you're following. Low salary will hurt the mentality. Yeah, it will. You're correct, Jacob. That too is a negative about it. Give them 50k and 10 times breakout. Yeah, but that's basically equal to giving them 500,000 of yearly salary, Valkyrie. So while you can cheese it, there's still limits to it. Financial changes, yes. Less cost cap. Let's go. Remember to always, yeah, poach during the start of the summer break is actually the best time to do it. Just scout everyone up to that point. Figure out who has a contract that runs out that year. And the first day of summer break, send the offer. Hello, Scratch. I like to keep my staff and build them up. That's fair, BKK, but in this case, the staff hates everyone, including each other. Okay, let us just sim to practice first, and then we'll switch out Bearman's damage gearbox for one that will become damaged during the race.
Hello and welcome. welcome to the much anticipated.
Hello, Jim. Yeah, staff are cheap. I think staff is a little bit too easy to come by, honestly. I guess we gamble on putting in the new engine, but another crash and you're gonna be basically making me cry. So let's pray that you don't do that. Scout everyone when you find all the scouts. Yeah. We just rehire a couple of scouts just for the summer break and then we just send them out the door. They're on a 1-month contract. Any other cheesy tactics? Cornering is still, I guess, considered somewhat cheesy. Yeah, Baku, the place where there is no degradation, where you can literally do... Actually use all your softs? That's actually kind of sad. It should work though, for pace, somewhat. And you have 2 sets of softs. You guys are interesting conundrums. But yeah, you can literally do this race on 2 sets of softs if you want to. Which is kind of funny. I think what we do is we put a full attack medium in the middle, and then we finish off on another soft tire, and that should be a little bit faster. Something like that. It's not a lot faster than base strategies, but kind of get an idea here. You can mess around with the strategies quite a bit. But aggressive, not really working around here. You're going to have to keep the soft tires on standard. Is that a U soft you have? Never mind. That's why we manually do quali, so we can save more soft tires. Funny thing here is, again, it doesn't matter what we do with the soft tire. Soft tire is still going to be quicker as running just standard or even conserve than either of these tires on full attack for the most part in Baku. So it's a weird scenario. What did I say? What's the false issue? Merc Season 1 is so hard. Objective 2nd. Honestly, I don't think Merc is going to be super hard here.
Sometimes I think you just have to accept that it's not going to be your race.
It's been a very frustrating day for them, and they leave without any point.
I guess we could simulate like a Merc season just for fun. Because I don't think it would be too bad. Bearman down in 20th. What did he do? I'll get just out of the points. But yeah, I do definitely think the player will get better results than we do while we're simming. Which is interesting. Because it kind of hints towards either the drivers are making mistakes or the strategy just isn't the greatest while you sim. And an issue that you're going to run into then is mentality, again, becoming a problem. Did you pick up a... I hate this. Major fault on the gearbox, which explains why it's 20th. Major fault on the gearbox seems to just straight up be the worst thing you can get. Like, massively bad. Okay, so this guy has 1 year left on his contract. He still has a 2 million buyout fee, though. So he might be the best bet unless we go for the Red Bull man. You are going to kick. Okay. Proposal got voted down, actually, so cost cap's going to remain the same. But yeah, that is 3 races, 2 faults, 1 major, a crash. Simming anything with sub 80 drivers is going to get really expensive really quick, unfortunately. Last year they did, you know, adjust the Merc objective in Season 1. I would assume they're going to do the same this year. Going aggressive still broke, it depends on the track. Degradation is a lot higher, so it's heavily dependent on the track. Also want to save some money for next year, and getting back will be very expensive, so probably not the best bet for saving cash. There we go, you heard it. Simming with Merc will not be bad. I guess we could try, like, if we do like the first couple of races, then we still have time. See how far we get from Merc, just to mess around. Hello, Mad says. Frank is an Android person. If I have an Android and iPhone, I have an Android. It would be nice, I agree, if you could loan out your young drivers. Around 18. We might have a couple of DNF races towards the end and start next year with the worst mentality seen by man. I think we do practice like we did last time and then we switch out to gearbox. Which makes more sense that way. Yeah, generally, as long as you sim with drivers that are decent, you shouldn't have too many problems like the Merc boys. But simming at this level, you do end up with some teeny tiny itsy bitsy problems. So do keep that in mind. Let's just go with fresh sets for both. 6 races remaining. So we can actually have a good end to the year. Can double check it that everything is working as expected. Seems to be all right. Hopefully.
Well, it's great to have you with us, folks. As we...
Hulkenberg. and 17. Did you pick up damage or just a bad quality experience, I guess? Whenever I see one of them so far from the other, then I'm usually very scared that now we picked up some more damage. Okay, so 8th here and 14th. You're a lap down on your teammate. That's an issue. Please don't tell me you broke your fresh gearbox. That would actually be a huge issue if you did. Hey, at least you leveled up from that. Yeah, you... We are picking up more and more damage. It is becoming a little bit worrisome at this point. Okay, let us make new parts that we need. We're probably gonna need a... We could survive on the chassis that we have. Probably are gonna try and do. Have one more rowing in here. And an underfloor. And that should be good. Honestly, at this point, I am unsure who we want to get as a new head of aerodynamics still. It would be nice to get Balbo, honestly. As you can see, he is currently very enthusiastic. Guess we could see what he wants for contracts and then make a decision from there. The buyout fee is immediately a modest 0.9 million there. Let's give him 3 a year. Give him 28 days. And how much are we going to have to pay in a signing bonus if we want to try and get him? Probably $1 million or so. 1.2 million maybe. $1.3 million. So 6 million to hire him. That's not a terrible amount. And again, we haven't gotten the money yet from our sponsor deal. This will weaken Red Bull a little bit too. So it's not a terrible idea. What should I set the offer deadline to on my offers? If you're doing it like I am, where you're just trying to maximize the, you know, the bar, you can set it to 28 days, no problem. They have yet to say no when I've done this. But if you're gonna be, you know, waiting for or trying to pick them up. It's hard to say. I just do 28 days because, again, save a little bit of money. You start with way lower cost cap, yeah, for my team. That is true. Okay, Holdy has accepted. We're going to go ahead and confirm the hire of our new technical chief. There we are. The railway manufacture is also completed, and we have solved our wind tunnel issues with a refurbishment. And, yes! No, you go to Red Bull. That's fine. That's fine. Go, go, go. It's not like you get paid more than my race drivers. No way I can afford that deal? Watch me, BKK. I'll make it happen. I'll make it work. I have a plan. It might be a terrible plan, but it is a plan. Glad you sent him a contract proposal. Well, the first contract proposal I sent it to Aldi went through, no problem. Again, it's just maximizing that blue bar, and you usually be fine. Ferrari, I don't get this. Ferrari want this man. They really are going Ferrari strategy here. Cost limit. We are currently 11 million away. We might be in trouble. Breaking. Good growth here for Behrman. Decent growth enough for De Hauge. A little bit slow. But it is what it is. We will deal with it as it goes. It was the sporting director I wanted to replace. Yeah, now I remember. There we go. I would like to replace my sporting director, yeah, before next year, for sure. We kind of do need to. And the funny thing is, my sporting director, who is demoralized at this point, I think, or maybe not demoralized, neutral probably, is still pretty terrible. The worst team member that we have, so I do need to get a new one. Although, saying it in the way that I am makes it sound really, really bad, like I'm just going to the store and picking up a sporting director. So, not the best, let's put it like that. But yeah, you can't, basically, you might struggle with your pit crew just because of this, because again, our pit crew boss has terrible fatigue management. That's number one. And number two, they have terrible training skills. So that slows things down quite a bit as well. This should not be a triple head if I remember correctly. So we're just going to do this, and then we're going to check at the calendar. It is, in fact, a triple header, so I need to fix that. I misremembered. But yeah, I don't want to go into a sprint weekend with a tired crew. That's not going to help the issues that we already have. Go rogue. Do anything to achieve greatness. What's the 55 rated driver's development? I would hope it's maxed. Pregnant here. It's very high. I don't think the game should have any affiliate drivers at the start. Doesn't really make any sense. Well, affiliate drivers are basically now your reserves to some degree, so it would make sense to at least have one. Hello, which option for the fastest pit stop is best? Well, if you want just fast pit stops, then just working the gym. If you want to make sure you don't have any errors, you work the pit stop error chance. But yeah, just gym if you want to make your stops faster. That's kind of to be expected, Nagisa, with the issues that they've had. There's a lot of people who are very upset that the patch is going to take, well, basically potentially a week here, maybe more. And it is understandable. A lot of these issues are things they should have caught before the game's released. like the fact that AI isn't developing. And the worst part is they released a day 1 patch for that issue, and it didn't fix it completely. It only made them do underfloor and suspension. Before that, they did nothing. So yeah, there is some. The thing is with they've kind of made a lot of errors with this series with how they've released each game. There's usually at least one very, very bad bug with it, and that's a bit of a problem. Okay, goodbye, boyo. I know your contract is ending. I'm trying to find someone to replace you, so it's fine. Okay, Sporting Director. Let's go with a little bit of a scouting trip here and see what we can find. Because I hate having bad pit stops. I need a better Sporting Director. Biggest issue is driver confidence, make it unplayable. Yeah, that's kind of the issues that I have, basically with the mentality system, because there's nothing that indicates, like, if anyone that I sign, if they're going to be happy with, you know, the team members, how everything is set up. So, what I would love to see is that they just added traits that kind of hints towards what they expect from you. Have professional staff and drivers who don't really have much malices, like basically professional makes the malice smaller, both positive and negative. Have people be ambitious. Basically if the other staff aren't better than them or on par, they're going to be, you know, demoralized, stuff like that. Just add some traits to the staff and to the drivers that we can see on the scouting reports, and then we can make a decision out of that. Do I want to pick up this guy? He would be a huge upgrade, but at the same time, because he's going to be the best guy on the team and he's hugely ambitious, he's going to be probably losing a little bit of mentality because of the fact that our team can't really match up to him. I would love it if they would just expand the system in that way. I think that would be a good way to make the game a lot better. Again, it's one of those things that is kind of hard to judge. It's easy for me to sit here and say that, oh, I have a solution for you, implement it. But I think that would be a good way to make mentality make more sense, because currently, I just feel like it doesn't. Like, you kind of don't really have too much of a... You don't really have too much control. Wheatley is out of a contract, and he has no new ones? Hello there. I have a new home for you. I'm willing to pay you $1.5 million a year. Yeah, sometimes the race bonuses bug out too, but I don't know what caused that. I basically had it happen twice so far. Give you $1 million and 10 grand. Oh, I'll buff it up to 50 just to be on the safe side. That should be good. Yeah, we can snatch Wheatley, then I'm going to be very happy. That's going to solve a lot of the issues. You're out of contract next year, so if Wheatley says no, we could snatch the Ferrari man. Which probably is a terrible idea because he's a Ferrari man. The thing with confidence, Andy, is that's also reliant on your basically race confidence, I assume is what you're talking about. And that actually has to do with your engineer more so than anything else. The race confidence scales with the affinity between your driver and your engineer, and it also scales with the composure stats. A higher rating means less driver confidence loss from negative events, and more driver confidence gain from positive events. So if your driver and your engineer, well, basically if your engineer is lacking composure and don't have the best relationship, you're going to see way bigger swings towards the negative side when it comes to confidence. And that's usually what you'll see, particularly at the start of the season, for the most part there, Andy. I did 1 year contract length? Oh. That's a mistake. Well, we can fix that, I think. Let's see, he is medium and patience. The way that we do this then is that we cancel this. And we send a new contract in like a couple of weeks. When it gets reset. So that's not really a big issue. Do we pick a Balbo though? I think we do. That's 6 million higher. Can just barely afford it. Thank you for making that mistake, Sash. I can show chat how I play the game. I am glad when you catch my mistakes, though. Like, sometimes I get a little bit too focused on the right side of my screen with chat is, so that I miss out on other things. Like, when I should pitch. How long the contract length is. I do lose myself a little bit when I do things like that, and that is problematic, but... The wind tunnel hire, we're up to 12 million again. So the wind tunnel hire paid off for Balbo's contract. So we're good in that regard. I think we just do factory stuff for the most part, because factory is still not an issue. But with the 4 races here coming up, that could change. But it's still a gamble that I'm willing to take. We should be paid out a little bit of money for that. The car performance for the mentality sure is bugged or is using the wrong rating thing. The way that the car mentality works is that it's based on this right here. It's based on this, and the only way that I can make this make sense is that every single one of these stats is weighed equally, meaning that it takes basically all of these, adds them together, and then, you know, compare them to the rest of the grid. And that is the only way that I can understand that this car, which is, you know, the best low-speed car, third best medium and high-speed car, would be the worst car overall. And it's also kind of funny when you look at things like this. It's supposed to be the third fastest car at Coda. It's supposed to be the 11th fastest car in Mexico, 9th in Brazil, 7th in Qatar, 13th at Las Vegas, 11th at Abu Dhabi. I don't think any one of these is lower than, you know, 13th, I think. Yeah. Well, what's there a 17th in here? No, 13th. So there is something weird going on there with the mentality for the car. And it's just, again, mostly just frustrating more so than anything else. But on the flip side, it does allow for EC payouts. So I don't know if I should be too upset about that right now. Wait,
Welcome to the United States Grand
is Russell
Prix.
facing disqualification?
We're in Austin, but there are no wild cowboys on the track this weekend.
What?
Just some serious horsepower. It's short.
Did his plank wear down? Car was way below minimum. Oh wow, that would suck. Well, if Russell gets DQ'd, you don't lose 25 points, you lose 18. Because Hamilton will get promoted unless C2 gets DQ'd. Yeah, sorry, Floof. I saw something about losing points, and I didn't connect that it was Russell getting a DQ until just now. Help. Well, what happens if it goes even further? We get double DQ. Everyone on the podium gets DQ'd, including Piastri.
Welcome, everyone.
To be fair, though, I think Verstappen might also be in a little bit of trouble, potentially, because there was some chatter on the radio that he was going to be pushing a tad more than maybe he should for plank wear. Please don't. Don't put that into the world. I will cry. I'm sorry.
Well, the excitement levels continue to rise.
Maybe this is how Hulkenberg finally gets his podium. Everyone else get DQ'd. That's more points for Alpine. To be fair, Alpine had a pretty decent library this today, but I forgot that they did. So when I saw them line up in the grid, I wasn't thinking properly and was just like, is Alfa Romeo back? Like, I had that brain fart for a good 5 seconds. I've never been that confused before the start of a GP before. Hello, Salo. And they're arguing with FI inside the garage? Okay. Okay. Seems like it might get a little bit interesting there. Why am I not going for the optimal setups? Because I'm simulating. Whenever you simulate, you can't. The setup gets randomly changed. Like, here's the thing. We do... Well, we already done quali, so we can't really change much. But basically, even if I set it up perfectly, the AI is going to change the setup again. So, as long as you sim everything, there's no point at the moment to really change anything there. Because they won't actually respect it. Setup is basically the confidence boost, yeah, Chai. So it can be pretty huge. Edmund is performing quite a lot better than Hauger at the moment, and I have no clue why. Have I made a mistake with their car parts, maybe? That would be a me error. How many times can I develop each part within the cost cap? If you're doing create a team, probably just once or twice. Why am I simulating everything? Because we are getting to the end of the season, and at this point we can't make our car better. So the only thing we would do for the end of the year is just fight for basically just the last couple of point spots. We'd be fighting for 6th, sometimes basically 7 and 8 for the most part. And it would probably be more interesting if we go into the second season and just see if we can maybe fight Verstappen a little bit for the first couple of races. I would assume you can find it on the F1 Formula 1 Reddit, Alex. Or Sky, if you're watching television. Okay, we are actually surviving pretty nicely here at the moment. We're going to be sending a new offer to Wheatley after this session. I would think he's back to negotiating levels, if you will. Hopefully no one else has poached him. But we shall see. Am I not researching anymore? Basically not, insert. We, for one, we don't need to, because the regulation change we got is actually so weak that we have no problems with the research. And number 2, we can't really afford it, so we just aren't doing it because of that. Video on the 26 regulation change. I guess I could do that. Basically, continue on to second season there. How to deal with the big reg. I might wait for that though until we get the fix, but we'll see. What's my craziest F1 managed race story? Probably one of those where you have only 6 cars finishing in 22. Is the reduced cost cap for the first season of my team working as tenant? I would assume so, but again, it's kind of a wild thing to do without giving the player any warning. So until we get a confirmation one way or another, I'm kind of honestly treating it like a bit of a bug. Yes, you get more cost cap in the second season, as far as I know. Hey, ATR period. Let us pray that your powertrain is fine. For as long as your powertrain is fine, I will be fine. I'm probably going to need one more front wing. And we're going to go and have a look at the finances here. And we have 10 million left on our cost cap. Now, we do have 400,000 left in salaries, 200 in engineering, say 800. We have about 6 million remaining to make parts and do research, so nothing too terrible. But what I think we're going to do now is actually do a chassis research where we focus on the things that we're missing, and as you can see, 1 or 2 of these should be enough to do the chassis regulation change. We're not going to use CFD time on this because I want to do CFD on the underfloor, as the underfloor is still incredibly powerful this year. And it would probably give me more boost than if I did this on the chassis anyway, so we're going to do this, get a little bit more cornering going into next year, fix that little bit of an issue that we have at Dirty Air. It's not going to be hugely fixed, but this should make the car hopefully a little bit higher rated. And we'll do the other research projects a little bit later on, because as I mentioned, go to the board here, we only get regulation changes on the side pod, which we have definitely done. We're just lacking the airflow front, and the chassis, which we'll probably solve right now. So again, we're very lucky with the regulation change. Max got lapped. Did he have a faults? And seems to be causing a lot of issues. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it could be hours before we actually get a, you know, a complete verdict, but FIA is pretty strict when it comes to things like, you know, weight not being within regulations. Same as, you know, if you remember Hamilton's issue in Brazil with the DRS flap being a little bit too wide, like by millimeters. So it's going to be hard to actually get out of that, I think. Or, you know, not really get out of, survive that. There's not a lot of leeway that can be applied, unfortunately, for Russell. But it would be kind of unfortunate if that is kind of what ends it. But if the discussion there is that he was underweight after they drained his fuel. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I just have to wait for the verdict. That's fine, I'll have a nap. Edmund has reached enthusiastic, I believe. We can have a look at exactly why, but he's been outperforming his teammate, which is probably why, honestly. Well, at least I'm kind of forced to work on the pit stop time at this point. I guess that is a positive for my pit boys. This should be good enough. But yeah, Charlotte here, we need to replace her because aptitude and processes are basically 2 of the more important stats. Again, processes is fatigue gains. Aptitude is the highest levels. Even a trainee is kind of low. I don't value leadership highly because when you make a mistake, it's going to suck anyways. I'd rather not make the mistakes to begin with. I did forget to send a contract, so I'll try and remember to do it after Brazil.
Our F1 season brings us to Brazil.
Yeah, if the scales are, you know, also not accurate, that's a whole different problem. We're keeping the drivers at least, but for now it's just the staff.
Hello and welcome as our...
They do need to add, though, like a screen for the sim results, the sprint weekends, because that's missing. I appreciate they added sim races, but they missed out there by not having the sim weekend results. Sorry, the sprint weekend results. Oh, Luke, you better watch out when this comes home. Then you might be in trouble. Funny thing here is when we simulate, we qualify 6th and 7th, and then we fall down during the races, which
Formula One's
isn't too surprising. 7 is scoring points, and Hauge's always 14th, so it's funny to watch in that regard. Okay. 3 more races to go, and then we can start second in the year. What did they fix in patch? Patch hasn't been released yet, Julian. It's just for the Switch. That brought it back to... Basically brought it to the release patch for PC. But at least our boys are developing nicely. He's just very happy with his personal situation for the most part. Yeah. 99 cornering on the bear. So there is something funky going on here. Okay, let us see now if, I would assume, he has gotten back his willingness to discuss a contract, and he has. So this time, let us go 5 seasons immediately, and I'll take back a little bit of that money. Let's give you a full million, okay? You happy with that? There we go, we sorted that issue out. But again, while the contract issue is here, you can just maximize the sign-on fee to get it done. You can also choose the wages. As mentioned, we're probably paying these guys a little bit less than we should. Should probably be paying 3 million at least for weekly, maybe even 4. We're probably paying the same, 4 or 5 million for our new head of aerodynamics going into next year. So it's a little bit, we are cheesing a little bit. Balbo here should probably get a lot more money. But it is what it is. We will take advantage of these glitches while we can, and then we'll make a new plan once they get patched. Well, I probably should put together the car before we go to Spider Pig. You did actually crash because you're missing a front wing. You picked up damage to your engine. Yikes! You're just gonna have to survive with that, Hauge. Fortunately, till the end of the year. That is a yikes moment. We have high risk to suspension and bare wings. So let's make one more of each of these. Well, hopefully be all that we need to do. Doesn't it make the game boring if you get a sim off of it? It's more boring, honestly, in my opinion, if you are you manually doing races and you know that you're going to be finishing 7th and 8th, basically in all of them. So we're just speeding along the progress a little bit here to go into the 2nd season. Because it was getting kind of repetitive last stream. You can. You're right with that, Kang. You can check the sprint results in the tab. But I would also like just to have it pop up because, again, I like to complain. What's the most important stuff? Honestly, your sporting director in my eyes, because pit stops are hugely important. Like your aerodynamics and chief engineer are also important because of the fact that they boost your car parts. In that sense, they're probably more important than your sporting director. But constantly having pit stop issues that cost you 5-6 seconds every race, it's going to quickly add up. And it's going to quickly most likely lose you at least some points over the course of the season. Also then having a 90 rated, chief of aerodynamics and chief of... basically, having these two rated 90 rather than 80, for instance, isn't going to be a huge difference. But 90 versus 80 for a sporting director is going to be quite a lot more. So I'd probably say sporting director, but if every one of your staff is like 85, it doesn't really matter much. It again just depends on your priorities, for the most part.
welcome.
We know the update will arrive sometime next week. Felix. You can sign in for an affiliate position, Kaust. Am I going to restart when that bug is patched? I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably allow stream to decide then. But I think we're going to mess around a little bit. Kind of see what applies to the current patch. Maybe even take a look at what might not apply, things like that. Auga is falling backwards, but to be fair, he does have damage to his engine, and that has probably escalated, I would think. Which would be horrible. The best sporting director is a free agent. That is heresy, honestly. Hey, he accepted it, and it didn't even take him 28 days to respond. So we gave him 28 days, he responded pretty quickly, and we can now hire him. Just like that. Wait, 4 seasons? Did he change my offer? Or did I click a little bit too quickly again? Well, 4 seasons is still acceptable. So there we go. I did assign him immediately, that's why. Well, he hates the car, the staff, the drivers, and the facility conditions. So even then, he's going to be an immense upgrade compared to our former pit staff there. So it's still fine. Put on innovation for training and processes. And we are now going to go to our pit crew here. And to be fair, there's not really much we can change. But yeah, I did kind of give him the job immediately. I'm just concerned now. Who is Red Bull going to pick up in his place? Because they might actually do some silly stuff. P6. Am I blind? Oh, they haven't picked someone up yet. We're going to have to wait. Race. I guess. Tours, factory race day, and a factory tour. Let's go. Send them all to the factory. Hamilton does move, yeah. Staff loose rating. I don't think so, for the most part. I guess they could, but it's mostly just drivers. The more I watch and play, the more infuriated I get. Yeah. Using low durability parts when I should start a new design and manufacture new parts of the same design. Because I'm spending too much on it. Basically what I do usually, unless we get to the end of the season, is that I try to make sure that I always have for suspensions, for underfloors, for side pods for the most part. Oh, we actually need to manufacture one of these. Or honestly, with so little left, let's just go in a lower part. Basically I have 4 of everything, but the front wings which you want 6 of. And that's usually fine for, you know, having a storage. And then whenever you get damaged, you just, you know, make a new one. Yeah, it's just a couple of races remaining. We'll just switch this out. Yeah, we're definitely picking up way more faults than we were earlier. Which is one of the problems with simming. I think I can handle all the salaries for high-rated staff. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Honestly, the finances, like, they might look scary if you look at this. Like, it says that we're going to breach cost cap by 2,453%. But if we go into the spending breakdown here, it assumes that we're going to end up 60 million in depth by end of the season. But as you can see, it doesn't take into account how much money you're getting from the sponsors. It's not part of that calculation. So our sponsor package, I don't remember exactly how much it was, but it's definitely more than this. So all in all, we're going to be good by the end of this. It's not actually a big problem. The numbers there are very scary, and it's one of the problems that this game has currently. Every new player that comes in, starts the game up, and sees that, oh, I'm going to be 60 million in debt by the end of the season, might do things that would be very detrimental to their progress. And that is one of the issues that I, you know, something that I really, really dislike with how the game currently is. Should be fine by like a million or so. Why am I?
Welcome everyone, qualifying for the sprint awaits us, and we're raring to get going.
Yeah, it seems like Wheatley is just not signing a new contract, which is kind of weird. Now, at 34 damage versus 44 one, it's going to be faster with major damage to it. Just keep that in mind. And here, we're just actually going to do the same with this 46 engine. There we go. Let's jump to the sprint. Does this game go for the 26 engine regulation at all? I don't believe so.
Well, it's a different.
How much research did I do for each car part? I've done 3 research projects total. But I'll show you at the end of the season. We had a regulation change that was very, very minimal. So it didn't really have any effect on the car.
We'll practice.
New patch has not been released yet, as far as I know. Yeah, you can get a lot of money from sponsors. You do really want to pick an upfront package. Hello, Edster. Apparently, I was late with that discussion too. I was clowned on because I realized what they were discussing like 10 minutes after they began. That's not why people are saying the 26 rate changes are confusing. It's because it's a huge regulation changes where you lose like 50 to 70% of your current stats.
Strong drive from Sergio.
And I can imagine that it's kind of hard to deal with. But I haven't heard or seen anything about a engine regulation change. But I might be wrong. Honestly, it would be cool if it was added. But it would be kind of weird. It would be kind of hard-coded, the results, I would think. Because I would not trust the AI to do, you know, engine research. To put it like that. Couple of research projects done here, and we'll check our financial situation. Get a little bit of leveling here. But the funny thing here is, I think our boys, actually, maybe I'm wrong. They're still upset with the staff, but they're very happy that we hired Wheatley, so that is what they're getting a buff from. But the rest of the staff is still not acceptable by the looks of things. Driver changes. So, okay, we're fine with our drivers for next season. We might need to pick up a new... affiliate, though. Now, cost cap-wise, again, we have 5 million remaining. There's 1 month and 1 race. So, facility-wise, we have paid everything that we are supposed to. As you can see, everything has been paid out. We have 5 million now to do research projects with. And we can actually do that. We can do 4 research projects then. We're going to do 1 for the suspension. And here we're going to focus on tire preservation. Airflow front. Basically just do this. It's not going to be huge gains, if you will. But it's going to be the best that we can go for. And actually, because of the fact that we're starting this a little bit late, we aren't actually going to be able to do it on every single part. And that is a little bit concerning. But it should still be acceptable. We'll just do, again, this. That should bring airflow middle up to where we need it. And we'll also do another chassis research. So we actually survived here without breaking cost cap. As silly as that sounds. But we even got in 3 extra research projects. So all in all, a good year. Did you really pick up immediately another... another fault? I wish I could order these guys to drive carefully, and I might be able to. Now I think about it, we'll have to experiment with that. We don't know yet YMI if it's going to be fixed next patch. No, the changes can be vastly different in terms of what gets hit. BKK, that's the issue. Like last year, you can have basically cooling get hit the hardest, 70%. You could have low speed cornering get hit the hardest. So it's still a little bit of variance, which makes it a little bit difficult to judge. But I think it's just that people might not be used to going into the board and checking their current research project progress. So I'll look into that a little bit next season. What parts am I using? Wind tunnel versus not for research. Basically, I've used 2 50 periods for research. That shouldn't be an issue. That is actually perfect. Feels good to be able to go over 60. Need to get that error chance down to like 7% or so. Then I'll be very happy. Now, this is just my personal opinion, but I like to get the error chance down first before I start working on the pit stop times. Generally, you'd like to get it down to like 8 or 7%. That's the point where you don't lose too much at the start of the new year. And after that, you can start, you know, enjoying lowering the pit stop times a little bit. Now, because this is the end of the year, we are going to do a little bit of pit stop time lowering as well. Going to be spending the rest of the time on that. But generally, there's no need to really rush it, because the higher your pit stop times are, the more gain you kind of, or rather, the more you lower it for each training session. Once you get down to 2.7, 2.65, that is when it starts slowing down a little bit more. So, yeah, there's no need to stress about keeping it low, personally, I think. Honestly, we're going to make sure we're at 0% going into the new year, so let's do it like that. There we go. Yeah, already it's looking a lot better with the old pit crew boss, but to be fair, December is just training month. Yeah, that's basically how I do pit crew then. I focus on the error chance so we get down to 7-8%, keep the car building where it is, and then focus on getting the times down. Hope they hurry up and patch the games so I can buy it. I hope they patch it on Monday. That would be my hope, but most likely Tuesday or Wednesday, just to make sure they can actually get a, you know, proper fix in without creating new bugs. But I am looking forward to being, you know, surprised. I can see all the teams car upgrading and ranking through the season. That might be the save editor tool. I think you are talking about there, Marcus. If you've seen that, like, probably on Reddit, there's a save editor where you can change that, where you can have a look at that. Hate watching a good video stream than getting a random ad for Anthony. I'm sorry, Floof. I'll be doing at least 1 or 2 races, yeah, of Season 2 today. I've been quite slow here with simming, so we'll speed it up a little bit. This will give you a new engine here too, the last one you have. Yeah, we'll see how this car looks in the first couple of races. It should be fairly competitive, I would think, at least hope. 5th and 9th at starting positions.
Karoo, what a brilliant drive we just witnessed there.
I tell you what, they had to work hard for those points today. What a phenomenal...
Brilliant drive. In 9th and 10th. I get hyped. It sounded like it was a podium there for a second, but yeah, it was not. The editors, you also see every retirement is coded in the game. Like driver retirement or race retirement. We got Behrman up to 81. Guess that is acceptable. He's still not happy with the other stab. We'll have to see if that fixes itself once we get some upgrades next year. But we're probably also going to have to do something with our race engineers next year too, but probably at the end, to be fair. Pepper Marty won F2. Agile 3rd, Crawford 2nd. Antonelli came 5th. That's how much we mentally broke this kid by just having him in our team. That's kind of insane. We ended up 6th though, so no biggie there. But again, I would have liked to end 9th just because more CFD time. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Around what race should I be doing research? Probably around the halfway point of the season, or when you're safe with the body directed FPS. But again, it's very difficult to judge depending on your regulation change. I haven't done any race replays yet. Coust. Might do some maybe tomorrow. I'm still very unsure if I'm going to stream tomorrow. I probably... If I do, it's going to be incredibly short, as I have a bunch of stuff I need to do. Yeah, we can take a look at the research now. We have done, I think, 6 research projects like total. And everyone is very unhappy with this team. I don't get this. Why is everyone very unhappy? This is a fresh team. We ended 6th in the championship. Why, why so sad? Okay, season engagement target hit. So that's at least good. Our marketability increases a little bit. And as you can see, you can actually go over the race targets in terms of money gained. So that is kind of huge. What's the best way to train the pit crew? Again, I just focus on aero until they're down to 87%. And I focus on getting the best of times down with the gym. Try and ensure that before every race weekend, you have their fatigue down to about 0% or just 1, 2, 3, 4. A very low number. And then you usually be fine. Hey, we became 2-star. That's pretty decent. Okay, regulation changes. So as you can see, the regulation changes that I get hit with this year are extremely minor to the point where you don't even need to mention them. Like 10% on the chassis, 30% on the sideboard. That is super easy to deal with. And again, regulations can be a lot harder than that. Which is why the question like, when should I start researching is such a hard question to answer because I don't know what regulation you're hit with. And as such, you might need to start researching immediately. You might need to start researching, you know, in December. But again, it depends on a lot of factors. So that makes that question incredibly hard to answer. 2-star, I bet you win the championship this year. Yeah, sporting director is important to get a good one. Hey, we're back into the negatives now on our starting balance. Okay, so the starting balance here after second year is going to be rough because, again, you start mostly in the negatives. You should be fine, though. We went in with 20 million. We paid 30 million in development, a million in the entry fee because we scored points. And generally here, this is kind of costly, unfortunately. Again, technical regulations here, we did very well. Can't really be upset. It's a boost across the board. No issues. Financial changes, none. Boarding changes, I believe there's none here either. So everything is basically still the same. We're going to stick with Mercedes engines to save money. And we're going to have a negative starting balance, which actually isn't a problem. Yeah, just about to start the second season. So in the second season, there was a question, do we have the full cost cap? Yes, we have 122 million. Compared to the 62 we had last year. So we have 60 more million now to develop the car in the way that we want. Which is quite hilarious. Now 12 million of this is going to go to facilities. Another $500,000 is going to go to the pit crew. 100k, let's just say, it's going to go to the scouting team. But generally here, also with the staff salaries, 2.5 million. We probably have 100 million of spending money if I'm, you know, being careful. Probably 105, 110. So all in all here, we have a lot of money that we can spend on whatever we want. And you could say that I can't develop the car right now. We're actually going to do a sponsored plan immediately. So even that isn't necessarily correct. Now, the 24 performance versus the 25 performance, we gain some top speed, we gain some acceleration. We actually added a number to represent it, which is interesting. And we gain some DRS effectiveness because every part went back to, you know, the basic middle of everything. We do lose a little bit of picker performance here, but with weekly here, nothing too much. We can deal with that. Immediately we get ATR, and our affiliates actually get an update, but I believe they've already left us, and they have, so yeah, not really that important. And for Bearman, he's now 91 cornering AD 5. He got 4 points of adaptability. I hate this game. I hate this stat so much. I love it when it rains for like the 3 laps when it's actually active, but for the rest, it's just so terrible. But it's, of course, everything. That's where he gets the full boost instead of accuracy where he needs it. Okay, so immediately on the start of our second season, we actually get a sponsor negotiation. So going in with a little bit of negative cash is not a problem. I'm refreshing my social media every minute. We'll keep you posted on Russell. I have 0 engineers for projects. Probably a problem with your design center, I would think. Although we do need to actually do some fixing here, some refurbishments. We don't have money for that. 60 extra million to work with is a huge difference, yeah. Like, you're going to be way more competitive in the second year. I think it's this weird bug where you probably pay for more than one engine somehow. Because there was a bug initially where you always defaulted to Renault, no matter which one you picked. Yeah, I have 3 million, but we're going to fix that. So, actually have some good options here. Ferro Energy seems to just be generally just the best all-round one. Been getting this one a lot. And because the marketability has gone up, we actually now have 9 different options here. Now, you can pick these ones that have engagement targets that, you know, they also have an engagement target. Get that paid out independently. And it'll also boost your race day payout, so that's kind of nice. We also want someone that gives us a little bit of, you know, everything. Windmill high times 2. Doesn't pay the 8.20 that we got last time around, just 320 this time. Serpent would be a good bet here, because we'll probably again outperform the car. And we'll do it from the beginning this time around. I do need a little bit more upfront money though, so we'll go with the wind tunnel higher. Other than that, we could go with a little bit of engagement. Should go with Raka here. Again, get a little bit of everything. And who do we want to be our last target? Probably the engagement one, although it isn't super good. We could also get a little bit more upfront, which wouldn't be terrible. And I think that's what we'll go for. Get a little bit more upfront here. With this package, we're going to end up with 25 million upfront, which gives us 20 million to develop the car going into Bahrain. And also that race day payout. Again, this is if you pick the medium target every time. So we can probably get close to 60 million race day if we perform well this season. Adaptability should make it easier to drive with a reverse setup. The way adaptability works right now is that it makes your driver better at driving with the wrong tires. So it makes your driver faster when they're driving on slicks going into, you know, inter territory or getting closer to inter. Basically, they're better at the crossover, if you will. Oh wow, that sounds bad then for Russell. So you just pushed his fuel a little bit too hard then. Okay, let's get the training going here. And as I mentioned initially here, what I would like to focus on is just getting the aero chance down. And that's exactly what we'll do before we go into the first race. Now, our pit stop times are very bad with 3 seconds. But we have 50 days of training before we go to Bahrain. So there's nothing wrong with getting the aero chance down first. Which is, again, exactly what we'll do. You could also start with working the aero chance because, again, the well-rested here, you can see that we have a lot of... we don't really get fatigue while we do this right now. So you could do the pit stop time first, but honestly, I think it's still best to just do the drills, get the aero chance down, because you can basically train the entirety of January, if you want, on getting this aero chance down, and basically already we have surpassed last year's pit crew massively. And then we can spend February getting the time down. So that is honestly, in my book, the best way to do it. Down to about 8%, which isn't really... like, I like to bring it there. Not really for any, you know, mathematical reason. But it feels... basically, the lower you bring that percentage, the less and less you're going to have a pit stop error. But 8% versus 7% is actually a huge difference. So do keep that in mind. The lower the percentage, the better. And it's just going to keep on getting better and better. I don't have the mental faculties available right now to do the math there, but percentage-wise, 7 versus 8% in terms of the chance of making an error is actually quite huge. There we go. First month. We're down below 3 seconds, 8% chance of error, and we can actually change that around a little bit by just going, you know, the wheel gun. Maximizing the wheel gun immediately. Bring that down to 7.5%. So we'll take that. Usually it's a godsend. And he's still not happy with the car or the drivers, but at least now he's not unhappy with the staff. Well, Balbo is. But Balbo is a special case, I guess. Huldi is perfectly happy with the staff. Now, if the 77 rated car performance and drivers, okay. And the fact that our facilities are, you know, falling apart, but other than that, they're okay. How about you guys? You're now happy with the staff. So again, giving the drivers a little bit of a buff there. So this basically just seems to be straight up just overall of your staff. If your overall staff is within a, you know, a margin, then they're happy. I think Russell is gone. Now we know why Merc did not ask Russell to let loose through. Yes. Yeah, I'm happy with new pit boss. I think pit stop time training doesn't reduce it fast enough. I think it's because last year at the release you could basically get a 1.8 second pit stops forever at the release of the game. So they have kind of probably gone a little bit too hard in the other direction. But if you have a pit boss like Wheatley, you can still do 2.4 second pit stops, which is probably something that we will reach over the course of this year. Minor damage should still be okay, Opal, I think. Depends on your finances, though. Can you afford a new ERS? Because if you don't use that, you're going to have to buy a new one at some point. Does improving staff help mentality? Yes. The way that it works is that it seems like, you know, the Malice is here, what they're unhappy with. Last season, they were unhappy with the staff. This season, our drivers are not. But it generally just seems like if you have staff that is lower rated, or like all of them added together they end up lower rated than your drivers or close to them, they're going to be unhappy, and vice versa. In our case, the staff added together is higher than the drivers, so they don't like them. The facilities aren't good enough. A lot of things like this. So there is some expectation based on just the overall is what I think it's generally how it works. Because that does seem to be the case. That seems to be the only common denominator, whether they hate something or not. But then you have drivers like Vashore, who's happy with everything for some reason. So there is some weird stuff going on here, where I would just like them to be a little bit more transparent on what you can expect from staff and driver when you hire them, in terms of how they would function. But yeah, let us get started here. We're going to do what we did last time. Another CFD boost for our underfloor. Just seems to be the best option, just as a general rule of thumb, although the gains, they don't look too promising at the moment. That's not really a huge problem, because we can fix that with some weight shedding. And we'll take a look at the car, how it compares to the rest of the grid in a second, but before that, let's just get started with the work here. Getting the car ready for the first race of the season. Next up, Chazzy, and again here, we are just going to max drag reduction and airflow middle. Basically the two things that we care about for this one. Put one extra engineer on it. Next up, we have side pod, and here too, we're going to be maximizing cooling and airflow middle. Getting us a pretty huge boost on the engine cooling part. Already, you can see that this car looks a lot better than it looked last year at the start. You can probably compare it with your own to just see that. But it is a fairly sizable gain already. I want to also go drag reduction route here. I think I might. Fire preservation is good, really good this year. But at the same time, I think the top speed gain here is acceptable. So we'll just do it like that. And we'll at least have these 4 parts going to Bahrain. That might be enough to make our car a lot more competitive. But yeah, you can see this year we're rated 13th and 14th from the get-go. So definitely a lot better than last year. And with the new parts, we'll just have to see how that affects the car. I'm actually kind of afraid that we might fall downwards on the performance ranking a little bit. What is my Wheatley contract? Can I have a look? Wheatley's contract here. Basically 1.5 million for 4 years. And we also gave him 1 million as a sign-on bonus, I believe. So that is basically what we did with him. I never split my CFD time between parts. I generally don't. I use it because to get the full benefit of CFD time, you have to make 2 designs. You have to make the CFD design itself, and then you have to make another to get the full effect of the expertise gain from using CFD time. So splitting it up between parts is not only costly, but it's also less efficient than if you just focus everything on one part. Do I have any idea if you can play F1 Manager with the mouse on PS5? Unfortunately, I don't know, Morgan. Improving facilities, yes, they do. They do want to have some level of facility, and every time you start a facility building or start building a facility, maybe even when you refurbish, you'll get a mental boost. How do I get good pit stop? I will be making a guide at that one point, but generally just get a good sporting director, and most of it is done. I've seen some engines blow up and fart, so it does happen. What was Wheatley's breakup? I didn't change that, so it should be 50. 0.5. Yeah, Kieran, the salary, the salary is less important. With that to 1.5 million, and the sign-on bonus, try and give him like 1 million. 28 days to respond. You could do that in a case, but also the way that expertise works is that the lower your expertise, the quicker it goes up. So by putting everything on one part, we get the biggest boost possible from that low expertise starting point. And if you split it in 2, you are to some degree slowing down your development on those 2 parts, rather than if you do one part in the first window and the second part in the second window. Also did get disqualified. That's unfortunate. The bug does not break the 28 to the respond. The bug with contracts, Kieran, is that if they counter offer you, you can't. They don't receive that. But if they agree to your first offer, then it's fine. So what you're looking to do is give him 28 days, give him whatever salary you want, and then up the signing bonus until you're at all the way at the end of the blue, and then he will accept it on your first try. Does the tech chief and head of aero affect the car in any way? So the way that these guys work is that they have stats here. You can see DRS delta, high speed downforce, and this basically translates into performance. Now, I haven't taken a closer look at it in this game, but in 23, basically a point of cooling, basically 10 points of cooling translated to... Let me rephrase that. Basically, if you had 100 points in any of these, it was a 5% gain in performance for that part. So we'll take a look at it once we start redesigning here. But yeah, they can have a pretty significant effect on your past performance, particularly when you start reaching those higher caps of expertise. $1.5 million, 4 seasons, about $1 million in signing bonus. Hey, reduced deadline for the underfloor. That is actually perfect. It's nothing I would like more. That's my first random event this year. So we have Sainz in Red Bull. You heard it here first. He goes to Red Bull. Same boys in McLaren. Bottas and Rick at Aston. Albon and Patricia at Mercedes. Okay, no wonder they are. Yeah, Mercedes not going to have a good year. Stroll and Tsunoda at Williams. Ocon and Magnussen at RB. Russell went to Alpine? Haas. Please. No. Merc fire. Yeah, the Hase is going to struggle. They've gone full in on a 69 meme. And Sauber aspect of Gasly and Hulk, so yeah. I don't know what it is. I think one of the devs hates Mercedes because it almost seems hard-coded that they need to, you know, crash and burn in this game. Like, it kind of feels that way, I'll be honest. Let's see, are there any new interesting drivers spawn? Go to our good old scouting list here. Doesn't really look like it, but we might try and snatch Lindblad. Let's give him a scouting, and we'll give him like the worst contract ever. Like they'll have to pay me billions to snatch him. But I think it's worth to use avoid high risk curves in 24. It is gonna have an effect on your chance of picking up faults. That's number one. It is gonna cool your tires, which means you have less drag. But on the flip side, you're losing 2 to 3 tenths from what I've seen a lap. So it's not gonna be worth it on basically every track unless the ones with the highest of drag. And even then, it's gonna be minimal if anything. You get a benefit. The main thing with high risk curves just seems to be like to avoid your paths picking up faults. Haas is resigned. Haas is gonna get laughed like 10 times. Beatley's contract again. Beatley's contract, 1.5 million in salary, 4 years, 28 days to respond, 0.5 breakout multiplier, and we paid him about 1 million on a sign-on bonus. So that is it, if I remember. That was a RP fan for real. But no mitigating circumstances, and that was a genuine error. That's unfortunate. Haas is also hard-coded to fail. I just don't see any scenario where they would do what they've done here, to be fair. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm also very tempted to just pick up Lindblad to see if he is gonna be upset. I guess is the best way I can put it. I want to see if he gets upset. Let's give him 800,000 and a 10 multiplier. This is going to be one hefty buyout if anyone wants to try and snatch him. Because as you can see, you can actually, you know, make it up for it by just paying him 250,000. So yeah, this is basically a lot better. I don't like that. I don't like that extra 200,000, so let's give him 750 and an extra 5,000. You know, that's worth losing 50,000 a year over 5 years. Can I save the game and take over Haas at the latest stage? It would have to be next year, BKK. But we could try and rescue Haas, yeah? That could be a, you know, interesting thing to do. Make a super team this year and then have to try and rescue Haas from the ashes next year. I think we'll be fine with just going for another underfloor immediately. Like so. Which will this? 648. Okay. That's not bad. Get it done in time. Yeah, we have plenty of time to get this one done. Now, again, we got 60, 30, 30, basically approximately what we were getting from that underfloor. This one gives us 50, 25, 26. We lose 12, 2.4. We barely lose top speed and dirty air on the new one, and we do get a little bit of boost here. And again, that is the CFD boost that is taking effect, and it's kind of why you are going to have to make a secondary one to get the full effect of CFD time. Now, again, if you spread it half and half, 25, 25, you probably won't need to because the gains will be very, very minimal. But particularly when you do one part, you can get some pretty sizable gains. Now, our underflow is actually getting kind of up there a little bit, so not getting huge gains, but they're still there. mean in a few months in real life. If I take over a house, I'm bringing in Steiner as, like, if he agrees, as an assistant, just for the shit show. I thought you got snatched up by someone. Why are you still here? It's kind of sad that the termination cost is the same as the contract. What's happening, Soham? Lap 1? Did you have a lap 1 airplane crash? Let's get 2 of these made now, and we're going to start the design on the front wing. Front wings are still incredibly powerful. 6 to right. 83 low speed. That should be enough to... With the underfloor, we might be very competitive. Still going to use the engineers. We're still going to get it by Melbourne. There wouldn't be a problem, and we can move the underfloor engineers afterwards. And here's the funny part. We actually have more engineers than we should have, because we only have a level 1 design center with a capacity of 6. So keep this in mind too. If you do level down your design center, they allow you to start with 6. They allow you to start with 10 engineers, but as long as you don't take any sponsor plans that lower your engineer count, you're fine. You can keep the 10. I don't know where we're hiding them, but we can. It's kind of funny. I'm just going to go ahead and refurbish a little bit now because we do have money to do so. So we'll do just that. I would also like to upgrade the hospitality area for more marketability. That's probably going to be a thing we do into the 3rd season rather than anything else. Norris locks up. Norris went bowling. Hey, Lindblad accepted the contract. So we'll pick him up as a affiliate. And I'm very curious, as I mentioned, how is he going to feel about our team? Is he going to be disappointed? Car isn't good enough, the facilities are bad, our condition isn't great. But he's happy with the mentoring and contracts. It's not all bad, I guess. Okay, since we did get pick retraining up last month, we can start focusing on getting time down now going into Bahrain. So we'll do a couple of these just to keep things where they are. A couple of car part, or rather car building. Next up, we're just going to do loads of gym training. And as you can see, we lose about 100 every time we do a double session. So you need 10 days to get a 10th down in your pit stop times. But your pit stop times will daily go up by approximately 2000s. So 10 days gym training will just give you 800s, not a 10th. So gym training is kind of slow this game. There's just no way around it. Just how things are. But it's not a huge problem. Still be able to get down to maybe 285 for the first race, and then we can work from there over the course of the season. Since we already have a low chance of error, we can just keep it where it is. Then we'll be very happy. So we actually get a little bit lower than I anticipated. Put in a little bit of pistol training there. And we're ready for Bahrain. Just about where we expect it to be. What am I going to do with all the god young kids you have? I don't know. I think a fun challenge could be to use affiliates to take over every seat on the grid. Because we had luck with the other one, we're going to have to pay for this one. That's fine. Then from my Red Bulls, it might be disappointed. Guess that makes sense. Okay, are we're not actually manufacturing the suspension. That is my fault. We need to manufacture the side pods. And because we didn't manufacture suspensions, we might need to rush the underfloors that we get in 4 days. That's my error, though. Okay, next up, design the rear wing. And we're still going to do what I did last season. I just want to see how it works in the second year. If it is actually powerful or not. We're not actually getting any huge gains here from the rear wing currently. So it's nothing too serious. Still a little bit frustrating. Yeah, we'll go like that. And at this point, we could do more designs to, you know, level up. But I want to get a new car first, and then we'll start working on other design issues, if you will. How would you get juniors in every seat? Basically, level them up and have the other teams pick them up. How can I do that? Just stuck in F2 and F3. Prompt them to F1 seat. Well, we just saw Haas pick up to level 69 rated, so the idea is just that I keep them as affiliates. We max out the race sim, which honestly we should start upgrading because we have a little bit of money now. Probably also upgrade the team hub one level. But the idea for such a challenge would just be straight up. We maximize the race sim, we keep them enthusiastic, we allow them to grow while being affiliates, and hopefully by the time we let them go from the affiliate seat, they are good enough that they will be picked up by the F1 teams. Mercedes engines. What is best development for Behrman? In my case, I just focus on the pace stats. So we put him on pace short runs, but we're probably going to switch this over to something else. We do need to get that accuracy up, though. Smoothness would also be nice to get a little bit higher, so a little bit unsure at the moment. Accuracy is a bit of a concern. Okay, I mean, are we caught up? We are for the most part. That is the underfloor, but we're going to have to wait with manufacturing until we actually have a slot available. But I'm wondering if we can snatch a win already in Bahrain, potentially, because of how the AI has done things. What is the best thing to do for car development? For the most part, just focus on cornering. Seems to be the strongest stat. You continue with the pain, unless you really did not agree with that pain. But it's honestly up to you. Like, this is a single-player game. If you feel like that crash is going to ruin your save, I'm not going to judge you if you decide to restart. I'm just going to get one underfloor in time. Well, good normal, and one of our boys is just gonna have to suffer this first race. That's on me, though. I should have sorted that out earlier. Let us speed this up a little bit with our engineers, like so. Hello, Amaya. Nice to see you. Yeah, that's fair. Is there any specific way I should go about upgrading my car? As in, for every 2 underfloors, I work on side pods. You should initially upgrade do one design of every single part, because the initial parts you get are all in the middle, with the sliders in the middle, medium weight. So you can get a lot of performance just by putting the weight to minimum, placing the sliders in better positions. P6 to P2. You think that with a car that upgrading up, it's supposed to get sub 1 minute lap time at Austria? Potentially. It's kind of hard to say though, but you could always test that with the editor. You'd have to gain 3 seconds though on an incredible short lap, so maybe not on second thought. It'd be It'd be a pretty rough one to try and pull off, honestly. Okay, race weekend in 5 days. Let us see if the car is actually worth anything going into Bahrain. No. I would also think no, BKK, because 3 seconds is a lot of time, even if you max the car. But ERS seems to be a little bit more potent this year than it used to be. So with that in mind, just maybe. Did go a little bit too quick, eh? Let's see, this will save 1914, that should be fine. I wanted to compare car before we went into the race weekend, so that's my fault. Okay, put on the new chassis, put on the new underfloor, unfortunately only for, I guess, Bearman. Performed better last year, so he gets rewarded. Suspension for both of them, side pods for both of them. And we aren't actually that high up, all things considered. But with the new underfloor, we are the best high-speed cornering team. So with the rear wing and the front wing, I would assume we're going to be the best cornering team just straight up. We're expected to be 7th in Bahrain. And 1st in Japan. We might actually struggle a little bit here. Interestingly enough. Stat-wise, we are looking good though for pace stats and Bearman. Decent enough for Hauge except for reactions. Both of these guys are lacking smoothness, which is actually kind of sad, because smoothness is still rather important, but let's face it, our race rewards this year is potentially 1.9 million per race. There's 24 races. That is a lot of money. A lot of potential money. Still better to do 2 qualifying runs. I'd come back to just doing 1. I get confused with this sign aspect. I don't understand all the finer details, like how you, in your guide, put more into cornering than engine cooling. So, basically, the way that it works is that your engine cooling is going to have less effect on your lap times than putting things into cornering. You still want to have a certain level of engine cooling. The best way to get that is from your side pod, so we maximize it on the side pod, because we get more there than from, say, the chassis. So maximize cooling on your side pod, minimize it on the chassis, maximize the tire preservation on your suspension, minimize it on your front wing. Feel free to also just slow down the video and have a look at where the sliders are. And if you are wondering why I'm placing the sliders where I am, feel free to ask. It's basically just that simple. I'm placing the sliders in a way that maximizes the aspect of each part for the most part. In terms of getting 100% setups, you're going to have to do them manually for the most part then, Ranger. This year's game is not very friendly when it comes to setups. It could simulate to qualifying. Let's go with maybe a mediocre setup. Let's see. Can you test the affiliates? Yeah, you can run affiliates in first practice if you want to. I'll test it next race. I forgot about that, sorry. Oh, if you save your game, do they respect it? I know that if you do, like, you can simulate practice and then do quali manually. But do they actually respect it if you save your game? Because that would be huge. Just gonna have to be good rear wing. We're fine with that. Yeah, that's not going to be great. I think we might be on the wrong side there, but that's still acceptable for me. Let's start quali and see how we do versus the Red Bulls here. Particularly for Bearman, who has that new underfloor at the first race weekend. Everything gone except floor. That is painful. Joshua, the best way to get a fast car is just upgrade each part once with a focus on cornering. Oh yeah, it's the F1 setup where you put in the safe for your drivers. Okay, let's see if this flyer is anything good. And immediately we get blocked a little bit by the Red Bull. And with that, Hauge has won the first duel. I would assume Bearman here is potentially going to get in trouble with this guy. But we shall see. Purple goes to Bearman in the second sector. And the final says... just a 10 between them, but yeah, Bearman did get held up a little bit by the RB. But 130 is not a bad starting point. We're still quite a bit behind her, looking at the timings. So we definitely do need upgrades there for our boys. What was they expect us to be here? 7?
There's a yellow flag now.
First spin of the Hasp boy. Q1. It's a good race strategy to look for. Just mess around with the race strategy editor. Make one that is good for you. The fact that there's a half a second between Alpine and RB here is worrisome. Like, the Haas, I understand, that's drivers. Kicking Alpine, they are really gonna suffer here this year. Let's send them out on the old tires, and we're probably gonna do 2 runs here in Q2. Hello, Jer. Jeroen. Jeroen Ameli. Yeah, currently the hello F1 fan, welcome. Alpine, why must you keep punishing me? What did they do to you? What did the Alpine boys do to you? Okay, so 2 times quicker than last time out. Quite a bit quicker for Bearman. So already it's looking a little bit better here, even on used tires. Well, probably going to have to do 1 more run, so I want to send them out around 8 minutes maybe. We're not going to use these tires in Q3 anyways, so there's nothing bad about doing another run with them. Wrecking green is not something that I'm going to get used to quickly. Let's just put it like that. No improvement, but I think we're safe. Verstappen is probably going to improve, let's be honest. But the others we should be safe for the most part. He just barely improved ahead of us. Oh, how gained? I don't believe it. We got knocked out in Q2 by Ocon in an RB. I thought we were safe. Hamilton with a 29.3. Okay, maybe the AI is a little bit stronger this year than I gave them credit for. Hello, Joshua. Terrible car as always. Is it true that the car setup does not make the car faster? Yeah, it just sets the starting confidence for the drivers, BKK. It actually has nothing to do with pace, but let's be fair. Driver confidence does, so... It does, but, you know, it's nothing to do with the car. Just driver stat boost. Like, it kind of does, because you do give the drivers a stat boost, but it doesn't directly improve the car. Falling off hard, yeah. Did you sim solo? Yeah, we've fallen off hard. We need to... I need to look at that Ferrari, but because it's quick. 29.2. Yeah, the underfloor suspension is probably the two strongest parts this year. By the looks of this. Oh, Piastri. Luckily, no blocking. And we did improve. What exactly did we improve to? 29.4, so... Not that terribly far off. But still, 28 looks like it's going to be the top time. I don't know if you guys can hear that boat beeping outside. Around halfway through the season, Joshua, for the most part. Okay, so my microphone did not pick it up. It's like a when one of those cruise ships make a basically bye-bye, we're leaving thing. 28.9. He did actually breach 28. What is the lap record around this place? $31.4. And he did a 28 in quali. Maybe Austria isn't so far-fetched. Yeah, just wondering the time, Giza. So, yeah. Lap record is race, yes, but still. Being that much quicker in quali is concerning. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go very aggressive on our medium tires because, let's face it, they aren't very good around here. And it's not going to save us a ton of time, but we should be able to attack at the end of these soft stints. I think that would be good enough. Although, yeah, for Hauge it would be good to build some confidence, and honestly the same kind of goes for Behrman. But he's not so far up that I think we're just going to do this instead. Put in an aggressive medium stint in the middle. That should work out just fine. We could probably try and underfuel a little bit here to mess around with that and not push the engine. But it's the first race of the season. Let's go for it. We also got decent setups in 95 and 88, not too shabby. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's see what we can do in Bahrain.
Welcome back, everyone. The final preparation. Here we go with the Bahrain Grand Prix.
So we're investing in factory and design center upgrades. I'd say get your factory to level 2, so you have 3 slots. And get your design center is not a concern. You can get it to level 2, so you have 10 engineers. But other than that, you probably want to get your car park test center and suspension sim upgraded before you start doing anything with your design center. I'll probably go and have to go too. I spent a little bit longer than I thought we would simming through this. Hello, Thomas. We are currently just starting the second season. Couple of drivers here with older softs. Yes. It's actually Hulkenberg, not one of the Haas boys. Follow me surprised. You can't really change the look of your chassis, like how it is, how it's shaped, but you can change your designs anytime you want. Like, we can change colors and design of the chassis anytime we want, but we can't change the shape. We can change the pattern of the design, colors, but that's about it. How the rest seasons one go? We ended up 6th. Hello, Jasper. It's gone fine. About to start the second season. Gonna see if we can perform better than last year. Might at least a little bit, although to be fair, Behrman almost ran into the Ferrari there. I think this is the point where we slow down the energy usage a little bit, so we don't go broke. Yeah, Slice is quite quick here. Already gotten a couple of seconds on Piastri. Looking for a new driver. Who should I get? Already have Behrman. What are you looking for? A low-rated driver? High-rated driver? I think they've just given the driver, like, the contracts. They've just given them a little bit too much freedom, maybe, in what drivers they pick. Hauge is going to struggle a bit more than Behrman this race, purely due to the fact that Behrman has the new underfloor and Hauge does not. I think at this point we just speed things up a little bit to that first pit stop. Behrman is getting held up here, which is potentially going to be bad, particularly as we apparently are going full attack and the strategy has changed a little bit. That is an issue. That's my fault though, because I probably set him to full attack. But yeah, the estimation here was that we were going to finish 7th, and it looks like that is potentially going to be the case. Gasly is really taking care of his tires. Look at that, 84%. Did he pit already? Ah, he couldn't have. Like, last I saw him seconds, I started wondering if he'd already pitted. 75 rating? Yeah, I forgot about that, Jeff. Thank you for reminding me. I don't think Hamilton to Ferrari is going to pan out. Depends on how... It's going to depend heavily on how Hamilton is going to look at his Ferrari stint. Is he going there to retire? Is he going there to be competitive? I think it's going to go well. Like, let's be honest. I don't think he's going to struggle or anything. So you have a mod now? Congrats. When I get a McMansion. Yeah, I was ship once. I was mentioning Amaya. They are really, really loud sometimes. If you've used your power, BKK, I will take it away from you. But yeah, it looks like we are going to need a couple more upgrades to be properly competitive. But this is basically just because of our... This is mainly going to be a difference in driver stats. But at the same time, now that they are slowing down a little bit with the aggression, we should also be making some gains. See if we can get Hauger up to where Behrman is, and maybe have him pull a little bit on the with the attack. We might also need to switch Behrman's strategy here because we pushed too hard at the beginning. should be safe just harvesting a little bit running here behind Sonoda. Yeah, currently we are a good 2 seconds slower than Verstappen and Leclerc. So yeah, there's that car needs a little bit of work still. Does my car look like a reverse McLaren or am I high? We can take a look at McLaren. I guess I can see the similarities somehow, but probably not as probably not that much. It's just that we have a stripe in the middle. How many hours have I got in F1 Manager games total? Probably over at least 1,000. Maybe 2. Yeah, we're gonna speed up here to the first pit stop, and I think we're gonna just try and speed run this first race a little bit, because I want to see, come Jeddah, with some more upgrades, if we can actually fight Red Bull. Because that's kind of the goal here, just to have a little bit of a fun season where we can fight Red Bull. But it would also be interesting that if we can't actually fight Red Bull with this, we might need to invest a little bit more in the top speed and DRS, potentially. Could be correct. Now for Behrman here, because we pushed early, we're probably going to have to take a look at the strategy. Do a little bit of change here. We could do this, wouldn't really lose any time, which basically just means we go attack in 3 laps time. I think that is the best option that we have. The yellow flag, as Piastri has had an incident. Big oof.
And you can just feel the frustration.
Did Papa Stroll sell Aston Martin and buy Williams? I did watch the GP, yeah. Do you think that either of them is going to get a penalty? Probably not. Bottas does end up pitting, though. I think this is what we're just gonna have to do. We're just gonna have to push, get in early, and try and go for that. If we want to try and go for anything close to a podium. Chief, you pushed me off the track. They might be a little bit too aggressive with the pushing off track this year, maybe. Go Haas for Hauge. Haas isn't really the play around this track, I feel. We can actually take a look at that. Compound performance. So the thing here, the reason why we want to make the soft last long by going light is because they are already almost 6/10 quicker than the medium tires, just from the get-go. Now, with the degradation between the soft and the medium tire, it takes almost 20 laps. If you start with a soft tire and a medium tire, 2 cars start at the same time. The softs hold an advantage over the medium tires for 20 laps. And if you do the hard versus the soft, which is over a second, then the difference is close to 25 laps. Basically, we don't want to use anything but softs if we can, because the soft tires just hold such a huge advantage over every other tire, and that's also why you can run light with them here, in particular, and still have pretty good pace compared to the cars around you. So, yeah, we're gonna avoid the hards, unfortunately. I got to Spa and only have 7 million cost cap left. That's gonna be very sad, Harry. You're gonna breach that cost cap. Yeah, I'm gonna push Hauge though for one more lap. We're going to get him in for the soft tire. And for Bearman, even if we jump on the medium a little bit too early, it should be okay. Not too concerned. Worst case scenario, we run the medium on light for a lap or two before we go aggressive. Basically, the difference there between pitting and not pitting. First piss over the air. Let's see if we mess this up. You could go for Vershaw. He seems to have less mentality issues than some other ones, although Hauger just completely ran into the back of Ocon there. But Behrman here, we keep him at one more lap. He's gonna hit that 30% threshold. But it should allow us to keep him out on the medium for the entire stint if we do. Hence why we're doing it. Once Hauger gets up to temp, he should be zooming. Okay, where exactly do we come out now? The fact that Williams are quick is very interesting. Slow stop for us. That's not great.
Oh dear, that's not a good stop.
Actually lost out pretty badly there. Stroll still needs to pit, but that's the only one in the top 10. So yeah, the AI might actually be more competitive this year. Although to be fair, we are still missing 3 parts, so 2 parts. Probably should make some top speed modifications as well. I'm looking forward to this. It's actually gonna be interesting if the AI is more aggressive. But this is also a confidence issue now for Behrman. He's down to 74 accuracy. Pace stats aren't too terrible, but it's still not great. Like, we definitely need to get the engineer relationship up and running. We're getting a little bit more confidence now when we overtake. But yeah, that is still a huge concern. What is my favorite team in F1? Not the manager. Right now, I am supporting McLaren for Piastri, but I was also very much cheering for Alonso when he was picking up podiums left, right, and center. What should I do if I'm struggling to earn cash? Probably, there's not really much you can do in this year's game. You just have to minimize your spending and try and get a better sponsor deal next year. Other than that, there's not really much you can do. Feel this a little bit closer this time around, but not by much. You actually do lose a lot of time defending and attacking, so for Behrman, best thing it would actually be to just get the overtakes done and then make a gap. But even that is going to be difficult. Looks like we picked up damage there.
Now there's been an incident and it looks to be
Well, I guess Tsunoda picked up damage.
Look at the Mercedes. Now there's an inviting opportunity there. Oh, that's quite an impact between them.
Took out his front wing. Yeah, I'm happy. That looked like it was us for a second. We can go back to neutral though, because Tsunoda with that much wing damage is going to go in the pits. I just feel like my drivers are giving up completely in corners, so overtake direction low might actually be bad this year just because of that. Keep it on medium, because as you can see, Hauger basically lost a second there. Because he was looking for an overtake and couldn't get it done, so something is going on, and the Williams actually stay out. I need to experiment with the overtake aggression a little bit more. Could also just be that some tracks it's worse than others. What are my thoughts on them adding the ability to carry your own team? I shouldn't have added it because I love the pick the real team and manage that. To be fair, it gives you, it's gonna give a lot of, it's gonna probably bring a lot more players into the game. I think it's also, you know, something that has been wanted for a long time. Can make your own challenge kind of scenario. I think it's a good addition, but let's be honest, for the first couple of months, everyone is gonna just mess around with it, try it out because it's the new shiny thing, so everyone needs to try it. That's usually how it goes. But yeah, I think it's, I don't think it's a problem that it's added, but it's still, once they still have some sorting out to do to make everything run smooth. I love Antonelli, my favorite of this game so far. Yeah, we're gonna try and break away with them and get a little bit of fresh space, if you will. We can avoid battling Pocher and Hauge, that would be actually kind of good. Because we definitely lost a little bit too much confidence from me not putting him on light from the get-go. Lost a lot of time with that. Although Hauge here is probably gonna reel us in again. And that's kind of the testament here to tire advantage, although we get immediately re-overtaken. Yeah, the overtakes are wild. Like, just back and forth, back and forth. Yellow flag, a longer one. What has happened now? Lines with a spin. Okay, so this time we actually do sound a little bit better, I guess you could say. Yeah, I definitely need to experiment with the overtake modes because you might need to use some higher ones now that they are that aggressive. Might even need to go defensive more often. But is it worth it to, you know, have more incidents? Because that's literally what the trade-off is going to be. And there's mods to be able to add Lamborghini or a Porsche with custom libraries, logos, and sponsors. I think that's already... there's already mods for that, I'm pretty sure, JR. I know there's a real sponsors mod, and I was informed that you can take any of the like preset libraries, at least the created ones, and make your own library if you have the know-how. So that's probably already going on, already happened. Antonelli, I think, is 78 at the start of second season. He wasn't very happy with... he didn't really have good morale in our team. What does always defend actually do? So always defend means that you always take the defensive line. And it actually means you're going to be a lot slower around the lap. Like, you can be like 5 seconds slower around Monaco by using always defend. That is how insane that can be. So it's great. Always defend is great if you want to have one car hold up the car behind. But of course, if there are tracks where it's easy to overtake, basically anything that is Monaco, even if you run always defend, it's basically just going to end up slowing you down rather than you slowing down the car behind much. So you're going to have to micromanage it if you plan to use it. It is literally just for slowing down the car behind. That's what I feel about that one. I'm surprised Mercs are making a little bit of a comeback here. I think Batman has hit 81 for us, so gained 6 overall in a season. And that's not even with the race sim maxed and, you know, enthusiastic the entire way. Yeah, basically Jasper, just on steroids. Yeah, we're finally getting close to the pit to that final stint. But yeah, we definitely ruined Bedman's race a little bit by running the soft sun attack. And I can actually kind of show you what I mean here. So, why do you not want to run your softs and attack around this place? Let's say that we pit for this tire just so we have a, you know, a baseline. And let us place soft tire so we actually just about make it to the end. Like so. Let's make that same strategy, but we turn the soft tire up a little bit. And as you can see, this one is 4 seconds quicker, but that it has you do a full attack. Let's say we can actually link these two full attack stints. You save 4 seconds by doing this, but the time that you save by being able to cut away that stop in its entirety is more than 4 seconds. So that's kind of the idea there. You just save so much time by running light. And anyone that runs attack and then does not run attack all the way, you're just going to get a ton of time on. I don't know, I don't have the right English words to describe it. But basically, again, attack around here with the softs is not really something you do unless you're planning to just use up the little you have left of the tire before you pit. The thing is though, Ranger, there's no one that forces you to pick the best car option. It's just there for people who want to, say, try it out. And even then, the best car option isn't actually giving you the best car on the grid, it's giving you a car that couldn't get podiums. So, it's not even a super developed car. It's basically giving you the, I think it was the 3rd best car on the grid. But again, you're not competing against anyone, so there's no need to be, like, if you can't stop yourself from picking the best of everything, then that's on you. That's not really on Frontier for, you know, giving you the option. I understand that maybe you feel like, oh, my achievement is worth more than that guy because he started with the best team, but it's a single player game. Like, if you want to show up achievements, fine, but honestly, they don't matter. Why is Bevan just not evolving for me? He has been stuck on an 80 rating for 2 seasons now. Do you have a race sim? Has his mentality been really, really bad? Because that is basically the 2 limiting factors, if you will, to growth. Guess we'll try and do one more lap for Hauger. Yeah, we'll get him in at the end of this one. You think Kimi will be the Merc seed in real life? Honestly, it does seem like Toto want to give him a shot, so maybe. Unless, of course, they get Verstappen somehow. I don't know, honestly. It's kind of hard to say. It seems like they really, really want him, but I don't know, honestly. It's such a weird scenario at the moment. That's weird though, because Behrman, as I said, is 81 here, and we just started the 2nd season. Is his race performance bad? Yeah, we're going to be fighting for the last couple of points there in this first race, which... Okay, that looked like they crashed into each other as they went into the pits, but... Yeah, that was weird. Rick actually just came out. Running 37.2s, which is equivalent to Hamilton, but he's pushing on all mediums. Yeah, we're not having the best of time here, honestly. Need more upgrades. Let's get podium even as 2 race wins. Then I honestly don't know what's up, Toro. Could very well be some sort of glitch or a bug that is limiting its development for you. 33.6. Might need to push a little bit harder here, honestly. But at the same time, I'm kind of okay with this being the first race. Not going to be great, but it's also not going to be terrible type beat. And since everyone is currently doing their first stints on a fresh tire, as long as we just keep this pace till the end, everything will be good. I think he'd been off George. Whoa.
There's been a crash.
It is science. Is that the Aston I saw? Oh.
And just like
He got binned off. By Bottas. I wonder though, did he turn into aggressive? Did Bottas actually just, assassinate him? Bottas did in fact be assassinating him. Driving as Mercedes this set, I think I'll focus more on high speed for the car. Could be good. Crash the last still looks so jank. Yeah, like the skidding is a little bit weird. I'm not gonna lie. Please don't take me out, ass man. We might actually catch Sainz at this rate because Sainz got his tires absolutely shredded there. But yeah, smoothness is a little bit of a problem for these two drivers, which is probably why running light isn't as powerful as it really would be. It would be more powerful if we had 80-85 smoothness. Just kind of a unfortunate thing. At the same time, it's alright. Hello, Anna. Where do I think Sainz goes? I don't know. I think Sainz is still holding out on the hopes that Red Bull is going to give him a seat, or that they feel at Mercedes that Antonelli isn't ready. He's a year more in the cooker. But time is running out, so soon he will be pressured to just take any open seat. Did I see that the AI are only making underfloors? Yeah, they're also making suspension. They do suspensions and the underfloor currently. Does it even get a FM25? No, they had a 4-year deal, which means 4 games. So if they honor the deal, we'll get at least one more game in the series. Oh, I really enjoy your content, and because you myself the NFL manager, I hope you enjoy. I think you'll enjoy yourself more once the first patch comes around the corner. A little bit disappointed here that 7th is the best we can fight for. But I guess that is how it is when we actually don't have the best car. But it could also hint towards the underfloor being actually really good. And I'm wondering just how good the AI underfloors are, so we might as well take a look after this. Sainz is also pitted, and I'm wondering just how quickly he'll be flying, if he'll break the lap record here now. Because Behrman is running 34.8, which is comparable to the rest of the grid here. Seven laps can we get within 5 seconds of Bottas? And Hauger has enough energy here that we'll be able to push for the last couple of laps, or rather enough tire more so than anything else. Who do I think comes in for Checo? I think Rick is their like safe bet. Yuki is the wild card. And Lawson is their if he blows them away in testing card. You need to raise your game, car's not improved, yeah. Need to get that confidence and mentality up. Fortunately, I don't have a Verstappen with everything at 100 because of the mentality system. Still though, 50, 47 and 55 behind, that's actually way too bad, you're right. We're gonna actually have to spend some money developing this year, which we actually have. Money! To be fair, Nagisa, every single launch in this series has been detrimental for the game. Like, here's the thing, if they just took an extra month for every release, an extra month after the, let's say that, oh, we aim to have the game ready for this date, and then a full week of just Q&A testing, and then 3 weeks to patch all the bugs they found, then the launches would be a lot better, the reception would be a lot nicer, and I think they would have gotten a much bigger audience, because a lot of people just see F1 Manager just go, isn't that the game where, you know, there's just full of bugs? And it's kind of hard to get rid of those rumors. Like, the people who just look at it once will look at the reviews that say full of bugs, and even if after those bugs are patched, those reviewers aren't going to change their minds. And that is the unfortunate reality of the situation. Okay, Hauger, we are going to use a little bit of energy to get away from the Mercedes. Then we're going to try and chase down the Aston Martin, who just caused me a little bit of an issue. We lost a second in that corner after getting overtaken. But that's what I'm saying, Alex. Just allow the streamers, allow the streams, allow the people who are interested in the game. Allow people like Mike Takumi, who has requested, you know, early access, who has requested to help them with the numbers for free, balancing numbers. The dude who basically understands the game better than the devs themselves. He has actually said that, oh, I am available. I'll help you out for free. And I'm in that same boat. I don't mind. Like, I love F1 Manager games. I love management games like this, and I want, like, I have no financial stake in this other than what I would, you know, get from the ads on YouTube. And even then, I want the game to be good. So I wouldn't mind setting down a couple of evenings, looking at the game, seeing what is wrong. Because already I have already sent in a list which has a decent amount of suggestions on how to make the game beginner friendly, but just adding some more explanations to how things work. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation. That's honestly the best way I can describe it at the moment. I'm gonna gamble on actually getting away from Rick here. We are making that work, just about.
We've got a yellow flag here.
Crash involving multiple cars, eh? Russell! And the Alpine. That's on the Haas. Pushed him on the gravel and then hit him in the side. Easy. Red Bull don't seem fast. Well, Verstappen is winning by a ton right now, so... And Sainz had incidents, hence why he's so far down. Red Bull seems plenty fast in this one for me.
Copy.
Yeah, I know, BKK. It's just sad and disappointing.
Copy.
The thing is, Hamburger, I don't need to really, go for testing the game. Like, I could go hard in to figure out what the bugs are. But let's face it, the game-breaking bugs that we are seeing right now, you would have caught up by just testing the game out, playing normally, give feedback on what works, what doesn't, what might need a little bit of extra polish, what might need to get a little bit extra, information in order to make it easier for the new players, to make them enjoy the game, keep on playing. And again, I wouldn't probably find the worst bugs out there. The things like the AI not developing, after a season or two, you'd pick up on that and see like, hey, these guys are using the same pieces. I just don't know what the end game that they have is. It doesn't make much sense to me. Okay, I'm gonna give you high aggression here. Please don't wreck the car.
Max Verstappen over the finish line and today's winner.
So 7th, it's going to be acceptable. It's just a shame because we couldn't catch Bottas there. It's actually going to survive. I think he only got a 5-second penalty. I'll get close too. But yeah, Bedman definitely would have gotten Bottas if it wasn't for the push issue that I did. So not a bad start. We can get some better components on the car and be more competitive. Please remember, these are the people who released the patch, and they don't realize the sliders was the wrong way. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all, which is again one of the problems. Hey, we only got half the bonus payout there, so that's a bug that can happen too. Don't know what causes that, but right there we only got paid out half the value. Yeah, Behrman has become 81. He's still developing. Same here for Alget 79. Just 2 points for Lindblad. Nothing too serious. I think I'm going to have to call it there, unfortunately. And we might continue. Probably not tomorrow. I'll have very little time tomorrow. So I'll probably try and get a video out on something. If there's any vicious, please put them in chat, but it's probably going to be mechanical failures. And I'll be sitting down to just go quickly over mentality, and then I'm going to go to bed. So hopefully that video will be out sometime tonight. Yeah, mentality in its current form doesn't seem really to be too much you can influence. It's basically mainly overall based. And at one point you just need to get better facilities, things like that. It's not really too much to say there. It's like when they release Confidence. It's a fairly shallow system in the sense that it just seems to care about overall, seems to care about your buildings. There seems to maybe be some sort of individual differences, but they seem to be very, very minor. So yeah, it is hard to say how that is going to work out. I remember your footy all day. What rotten fish is best? Ask a Swede. They know the best ones. Development? Already have one on that basically focus on the creative team. Project 100. I have the a short form one and a longer form one. You can check those out on the channel. I'll be going over the Discord after I'm done editing BKK. It looked kind of worrying, I'll be honest, but it could be funny. At least it's season 2 of Ferrari. Oh, your survival creator team, yeah. Season 2 of Ferrari. We could do season 2 survival with a focus on research and dealing with the what's it called? The huge regulation change for research. I assume that is what is the main concern there. But yeah, I'm gonna have to call it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Hopefully we get a patch early next week. Hopefully tomorrow. If not, Tuesday. If not, Wednesday. Please, I need it. But yeah, thank you all. Hope you have a good evening. Bye bye.